So then lads, back with another video. As you probably know, that's why you're watching this, the new CoD has just been announced, so that's going to be Modern Warfare 2. Now before I get into this, yeah, I know the gameplay is not going to match, that's because Warfare is the only CoD game I have on PC, and I just had to delete it because the fucking Godzilla Warzone update just completely messed with the frame rate, because for some reason Warzone's the only part of the game you can't not install. So yeah, it's going to be Battlefield gameplay instead. But yeah, we're going to be talking about Modern Warfare 2 could be, and also how people are really already jumping to conclusions about what the game's going to be, despite knowing fuck all about it. So yeah, let's get into this. I just want to say that we don't really know much about the game right now, but this one little logo reveal is all it fucking takes for the fanboys and the haters to start going at it. So yeah, a lot of people are deciding things about this game already. I just want to say stop doing that because it's fucking cringe. So you've got kind of two camps. You have the Infinity Ward fanboys and the Treyarch fanboys. I mean, Infinity Ward fanboys, they've always been like way too optimistic. Every new game is seen as something that's going to save COD, and they really don't realize how bad it is until they get into it. The Treyarch fanboys, on the other hand, they can kind of be dicks. Like, see them in comment sections all the time. Like, they'll make fun of Sledgehammer for Advanced Warfare, World War II, and Vanguard. They make fun of Infinity Ward for Ghosts, Infinite Warfare, and Modern Warfare 2019. But if you bring up Black Ops 3, 4, and Cold War, they start going, no, it's not their fault. Activision made them do it. They're still a good studio. Yeah, they're already saying that this is going to be worst version of Warfare. They're already screeching about how there's going to be doors and mounting and not a traditional mini-map before we got anything. So yeah, I'm just going to give off what things might happen because of the leaks. I'm not saying anything definitive about the quality of the game, but I'd say no matter what, it's not advisable to pre-order this game, just for obvious reasons. I'm not going to talk about the things I already mentioned in my last video, so go check that out if you want to hear them. But there's a few things that we've gotten leaked since then. First of all, it's the fact that pretty much every studio ever is working on this game. You know the phrase, too many cooks spoil the pot? Well, that might happen here, but then again, considering how fucking bad and underdeveloped the game's been, like how it took Siege years to get a new map, I feel like a lot of devs that working on this game will be good because it'll fill up all the lack of the content that people have hated over the past few games. The other thing that's also been leaked was mostly like minor. It's about how Shadow Company's coming back in this game and Rose coming back as an operator. That means there's still going to be operators in this game, okay? Worst case scenario, it's like Vanguard, you just choose an operator and there's no teams. Best case scenario, operators are kind of like elite skins that you can get, but you also get to customize soldiers for each faction. Or likely be is you have two teams again and you pick operators for those factions. Also, would be nice if, say, you had a multitude of factions like SAS, Marines, Spetsnaz, Al-Qatala, Shadow Company. You could pick an operator for each one. Like, you know, back in the days, like you get really riled up just loading into the match, hearing your team's opening music, and knowing that at that point it kind of fits into the story. I mean, I know they kind of ditched the idea of having more than one faction since Ghost, Modern Warfare Remastered, the only one since. But what makes them not realize that that's going to get them more money? Like, I don't get their thought process. Obviously, they use soldier customization so people buy cosmetics, but wouldn't being able to make a soldier for each faction just get them more money? I mean, Battlefield 5, you get like 16 soldiers from all the classes and factions. They would have made money if the game was marketed properly, so I understand the thought process here. The other leaks have been to do with the new DM's Ed mode. I don't really care much about this mode, to be honest. Like, I've heard it's Escape from Tarkov like. I've never played that game, and obviously that's the way Hazard Zone from 2040 Fuck was described. But what it said was that it's going to be replacement to the co-op mode, and honestly, unpopular opinion, co-op wasn't that bad in Warfare. Like, the problems were how it really relied on teamwork. When the servers were dead, it would take you forever to find a match. The moment you get in, somebody leaves and you get swarmed by enemies, then you're dead and your retarded teammates on the other side of the map, even though you're right next to the objective. When you're trying to defuse a trip mine, they run straight through it and you die and they don't take any damage. You're bleeding out on a roof and they come towards you, so you jump off the building so they can see you, but they run right over you and search the building for 10 minutes. Okay, those are all things that have happened to me, but I presume the experience is kind of universal. The problem is, this game seems like it would rely a lot more on teamwork, and they're not counting for the fact that people like me are like the only people out of their friendship group that play CoD. And also, given that it's a game, you don't expect a lot of people without friends playing it, so it's going to be people working alone having to do this, which kind of suck. The gameplay is kind of described as you're going to drop in similar to a battle royale. You fight like AI enemy soldiers, and you can go through areas ranging from wide open spaces to small buildings that you do close quarters combat in. You can collect loot, but when you die, you lose all your loot. That was basic gameplay described. I mean, if you played Escape from Tarkov, that sounds how I imagine it. So you're probably in luck. Yeah, that's really all we've gotten so far in terms of League. Okay, apart from the like 8-second video that had the 1-for-1 logo in it that everyone's going crazy about. But yeah, that's really all that's in terms of new leagues. Now I'm going to talk about things that probably shouldn't be in this game if it's going to be worth a buy. Like, if you're an Activision employee and you're seeing how much people are raving about the new features you've added, you're not going to want to add them to the new game unless you're completely fucking brain dead. Well, given that it's Activision, I wouldn't put that past them. But anyway, yeah. Seeing how much things the community hates about these past free cards. Like, okay, I personally didn't mind doors or mounting. Like, doors, they were kind of annoying, but didn't completely ruin the game for me. Mounting, I don't get why that's a problem. It does not affect the game in any way. Like, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. And I know you have people saying that it's overpowered. It's fucking shit. You can't move to one place and you can't move your mouse, basically. But yeah, and then there's the things like the classic mini-map, playing older cards, seeing on separate as fire appear in the mini-map. God, the gameplay is so much faster. If that's not in this game, well, that's going to be a good thing. They already confirmed that they're not doing that, and they're finally going back to the traditional mini-map. I would say that's a good thing, but we really shouldn't be celebrating that. That should be a given. If SBMM is in this game, I'm just not going to buy it, really. Like, how stupid do you have to be to include it when it's literally a thing everyone hates about CoD? And I think it's designed to be a thing for new players. It's not. I mean, Warfare was one of my first CoDs, but I fucking hated it because of the skill-based matchmaking. You couldn't get a good game. Like, when I destroyed the lobby, I'd get pounded to the dirt next time. I would prefer visiting older CoDs and getting my ass kicked, but slowly working myself up. Really, if they do this again, it's going to benefit nobody. I wouldn't be surprised if they make fuck all money from this, apart from the retards who buy all the microtransactions. Okay, so we've talked about these things that aren't going to be in this game. What are things that I hope are in this game, okay? Well, it's the thing. It was planned for Modern Warfare 2 multiplayer remaster to go for the campaign remaster. It's a shame because I've got that game and I've heard so much good stuff about that multiplayer. I wish I would have got it, but they just have a ton of remastered maps that they might implement those actual ones. Because if you look at the remastered maps in Warfare, you know, Backlot, Crash Site, Shipment, they're all made so much worse than the original, I guess. Like, I don't know about Broadcast because that's in like DLC map pack for NWR. The only map that wasn't made worse was Vacant, but that one was shit to begin with, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, if the new maps are traditional, that would be good. Like, I hear so many good things about Favela, High Rise, Terminal. I mean, I already mentioned that they were rumored to make a return in my last video. Seeing them in their classic form, God, that would be so good. The thing that comes back is the ground war game mode. Like, it's going to be kind of hard given that they insist on making all the new maps about the shit new narrative that they've made, but, you know, we can always hope that, like, what if they just make some ground war maps, basically the original Modern Warfare 2, like, the bit where the White House is getting bombed, imagine playing through that. I mean, they could bring back all the maps from the original apart from Promenade. If that's in the game, I just won't buy it. And then also make new ones since. They really didn't put much thought into that mode. but then it turned out to be the best when it was just supposed to test for high player counts for Warzone. That's why every map apart from Palace was just taken from the Warzone map. I mean, if they take some place from the DMZ map, that would be good. If they make entirely new ones plus the originals, that would also be good. Just a return of ground warfare if the new modes aren't really much to care about and the multiplayer is as mediocre as it was in Warfare. I mean, there's no point hoping for multiple multiplayer factions. I mean, campaign-wise, I don't have high hopes for the campaign. I mean, looking at Warfare's campaign, I mean, the gameplay was good when they tried new things in some levels, like Clean House and Going Dark. But then things like Into the Wolf's Den and Embassy, some of those gameplay just didn't feel like CoD. Even when they tried some of the more classic campaign style missions in like Into the Furnace and Hunting Party, really just couldn't hold up to the original Modern Warfare 1 and 2 campaign. The story, in my honest opinion, was just awful. Like, the characters are all just treated like gods by the others. You know, they all seem to have character, even though a lot of them have shit character, like Alex and Farah. We don't really get any faceless, voiceless characters like we used to have, like Paul Jackson, James Ramirez, Gary Sanderson. Love to see them return. And well, characters, yeah, as to mention that they get treated like gods by everyone. Like they always seem to be so important. Like Gaz Price just meets him and he's his new fucking best friend. They go on these little adventures. They only get to go on solo missions. You know, when there's a terror attack, who does the CIA call? The SAS, because they wanted Price to be in that story. You know, Alex is just a CIA agent, but he fights a lot of Marines, is as good as their job at them. Then when he goes rogue, they don't arrest him. Farah becomes the leader of the resistance group by writing letters from a prison camp, yeah. I don't really think that a woman could be the leader of a resistance group in the Middle East. Like, I'm not saying women couldn't do it, but it's like the Middle East. They're not exactly politically correct in resistance groups. And she seems to have pretty good shooting skills and mental health for someone who watched her parents die and spent pretty much all her life in prison. Then Nikolai, he's like an ex-Russian special forces and a criminal. Everyone just trusts him, and he seems to have like all the connections on Earth. He just gets the butcher's wife and son like that. Expect it to be harder, but nope. I mean, I'd hope the story takes a more realistic approach. You don't have any of this Avengers shit, like characters doing Black Ops missions. Keep that to Black Ops series. You know, these actual armies fighting together like the original 1 and 2. I mean, sure, you had your kind of superhero moments in them, like all gillied up, or the last mission of MW2, and the whole edition of Task Force 141, which I've always fucking hated. Yeah, you know, if we can get just the return of it, like normal military factions, like maybe Rangers, that'd be nice, but I doubt it. I think the campaign's probably going to have a worse story than the last. But yes, my little rant over, that's all I really have to say. So yeah, that's all I really have to say that wasn't already covered in my first video on the subject. So yeah, if you liked, you can subscribe, watch some of my other videos if you want. Maybe like, I don't really give a shit about likes. So then lads, that's the end.